The morning sky over New Angeles burned red with alien fire. Captain Jake Morrison crouched behind the twisted wreckage of what used to be a school bus and watched the Zephyrian war machines march down the street like metal giants. Their 12-foot-tall bodies moved with deadly grace while plasma cannons charged on their shoulders. The sound they made walking was like thunder that never stopped. Jake wiped sweat from his face and checked his rifle. Only 30 rounds left. Behind him, Lieutenant Amy Rodriguez was helping wounded soldiers into the basement of a destroyed building. Her pilot uniform was torn and bloody, but she kept working. Sergeant Pete Collins sat against a wall nearby, wrapping a bandage around his arm where Zephyrian claws had cut deep. "How many more waves do you think they'll send?" Pete asked. His voice was tired but steady. He had been fighting aliens for 3 years now and never complained once. Jake looked through his scope at the enemy forces gathering in the distance. Hundreds of Zephyrian warriors stood in perfect lines. Their chitinous armor gleamed like black mirrors in the smoky air. Behind them, massive ships floated in the sky, each one big enough to hold 1,000 soldiers. "All of them," Jake said. "This is their final push." Amy finished helping the last wounded soldier down the stairs and crawled over to where Jake and Pete were hiding. Her dark hair was matted with dust and her green eyes looked exhausted. She had been one of the best pilots in the fleet before the Zephyrians destroyed every human ship in orbit. Now she fought on the ground like everyone else. "The civilians are secure in the underground tunnels," she reported. "But those tunnels won't protect them if the aliens break through our lines." Jake nodded. New Angeles was the last free city on Earth. Every other human settlement had fallen to the Zephyrian Empire over the past 3 years. The aliens had come from beyond the edge of known space with technology that made human weapons look like toys. They moved from planet to planet, conquering everything in their path. Now only Earth remained. The ground shook as more alien ships landed outside the city. Jake could see them through the smoke. Black metal vessels shaped like massive spears thrust into the earth. Ramps lowered and more Zephyrian warriors marched out. Each one carried weapons that could melt through steel and armor that could stop tank shells. "Sir," Pete said quietly, "the other squads aren't responding on radio anymore." Jake tried his communicator again but heard only static. Squad 7 had been defending the eastern bridge. Squad 3 was stationed at the power plant. Squad 12 was supposed to be holding the airport. Now there was only silence where their voices should be. Amy closed her eyes for a moment, then opened them with determination. "So it's just us." "Just us," Jake agreed. The first wave of Zephyrian warriors began moving toward their position. Jake counted 20 of them spread across the street. Their long legs covered ground quickly and their weapons were already charging with blue energy. Behind them he could see more aliens coming. Too many to count. "Remember," Jake told his squad, "we make them pay for every step." Amy took position at a window with her sniper rifle. Pete moved to cover the back entrance with his shotgun. Jake stayed by the front door with his assault rifle. They had done this dance before in a dozen other cities. It always ended the same way. The Zephyrians opened fire first. Blue plasma bolts screamed through the air and exploded against the building walls. The ancient brick and concrete crumbled like paper. Jake fired back, his bullets sparking off alien armor but finding gaps here and there. One Zephyrian stumbled and fell. Another one kept coming despite taking 3 shots to the chest. Amy's sniper rifle cracked and one of the alien commanders dropped. The shot had found the weak spot where the neck met the helmet. For a moment, the other Zephyrians paused their advance. They were not used to enemies who could hurt them. "Nice shot," Pete called out. "Save the celebration," Amy replied, already lining up her next target. The battle turned into a storm of energy and bullets. Jake's rifle grew hot in his hands as he fired round after round. The Zephyrians advanced slowly, but they never stopped. When one fell, 2 more took its place. Their plasma weapons carved chunks out of the building around him. Pete's shotgun boomed as aliens tried to come through the back door. The heavy shells could punch through Zephyrian armor at close range, but Pete had to let them get very close. Jake heard him cursing and fighting hand-to-hand with something that had gotten past his gun. Amy kept firing from her window until a plasma bolt came too close. The wall exploded and she tumbled backward, her rifle flying from her hands. She rolled to her feet and drew her pistol, blood running down her face from where concrete had cut her. "They're in the building," she shouted. Jake spun around to see a Zephyrian warrior ducking through the doorway. The alien was massive up close, its black eyes reflecting no mercy. Jake emptied his magazine into its chest and the creature staggered but did not fall. It raised its plasma cannon toward him. Amy appeared beside the alien and jammed her pistol against its neck. She fired 3 times before the creature collapsed. Its heavy body shook the floor when it hit. "Thanks," Jake said, reloading his rifle. "Don't mention it." Pete came limping from the back room, his face pale. "They're coming from all sides now. I counted at least 10 more breaking in downstairs." Jake looked at his ammunition counter. 8 rounds left. Amy checked her pistol and frowned. Pete's shotgun was empty and he was bleeding from several wounds. Outside, Jake could hear more Zephyrian voices calling to each other in their clicking language. "This is it," Jake said. "We've done our job. The civilians got away." Amy smiled despite everything. "It's been an honor serving with you both." Pete laughed, which turned into a cough. "Same here. Let's show these aliens how humans say goodbye." They moved toward the stairs together as alien footsteps echoed from below. Jake's radio suddenly crackled to life with an automated message he had never heard before. A calm female voice spoke clearly. "Final protocol activated. All units proceed to extraction point Alpha." "What extraction point?" Amy asked. Jake didn't know. He had never heard of any extraction point Alpha. But there was no time to wonder about mysterious messages. The Zephyrians were coming up the stairs and his rifle only had 8 bullets left. The fighting that followed was desperate and brief. Amy fell first when a plasma bolt caught her in the chest. She died instantly, her pistol still firing. Pete made his last stand on the stairway, using his empty shotgun as a club until alien claws tore him apart. Jake found himself alone on the roof as Zephyrian warriors surrounded him. He looked up at the red sky one last time and thought about Earth. Somewhere, he hoped, humans were still alive. Maybe on distant planets the aliens hadn't found yet. Maybe in hidden places the Zephyrians would never discover. Jake's rifle clicked empty. The aliens raised their weapons toward him. With his dying strength, he pressed the emergency beacon on his belt, a device every squad leader carried but was told never to use except when all hope was lost. As he fell, his blood touched a small sensor built into the rooftop concrete. The sensor had been waiting there for over 200 years, hidden and forgotten by everyone except those who had placed it. Deep beneath the earth, something ancient began to wake up. 300 miles beneath the surface of Earth, in a place that had been hidden since before recorded history began, machines that had waited for centuries finally received their signal. The facility stretched for miles in every direction, carved from solid rock and lined with metal that gleamed like silver. Thousands of cryogenic pods filled vast chambers, each one containing a sleeping figure that looked human, but was something more. The first pod to open belonged to Colonel Marcus Kane. Icer, crystals fell from his body as the chamber hissed and drained its preserving fluids. His eyes opened slowly, revealing irises that shifted color from blue to gold as enhanced neural pathways activated in his brain. Marcus sat up and felt strength flowing through muscles that had been perfected by technologies that would not be invented for another 1,000 years. He stepped out of the pod onto the cold metal floor and looked around the chamber. Row after row of sleeping forms surrounded him, each one a soldier who had volunteered for something they barely understood. Marcus remembered the day he had entered this place. The year was 2089 and scientists had just discovered the ruins beneath Antarctica. Inside those ancient halls they found technology that was unmistakably human yet impossibly advanced. The pod next to his opened with a soft sound. Dr. Lisa Bennett emerged, her long blonde hair falling around her shoulders as she stretched muscles that had not moved for 3 centuries. Her mind immediately began processing the data flowing into her enhanced consciousness. Quantum physics equations, medical knowledge, battlefield tactics, all of it downloaded directly into her neural cortex while she slept. "Status report," Marcus said. His voice was deeper than he remembered, changed by modifications to his vocal cords that allowed him to communicate on frequencies no normal human could hear. Lisa touched a panel on the wall and information flowed across the surface in streams of light. "We have been asleep for 298 years, 4 months and 16 days. The surface beacon was activated 47 minutes ago by Captain Jake Morrison of the Earth Defense Force." More pods opened around them. Commander Ryan Hughes stepped out, his movements fluid and precise like a dancer or a killer. His eyes scanned the chamber, already calculating threat assessments and tactical options. Behind him came Captain Nina Walsh, her hands flexing as enhanced reflexes tested themselves. Then Sergeant Tony Martinez, his broad shoulders carrying strength that could bend steel bars. One by one, 50 of Earth's most elite soldiers awakened from their long sleep. Each had been selected not just for their skills, but for their ability to adapt to enhancements that pushed human potential beyond all natural limits. Their bodies had been rebuilt at the cellular level, their minds expanded with knowledge from technologies they had found in the ruins. "Surface scan complete," Lisa announced. "The situation is worse than our worst-case scenarios predicted." The chamber filled with holographic displays showing Earth as it existed now. Cities lay in ruins. Massive alien ships covered the sky like black clouds. Concentration camps stretched across entire continents, where the few surviving humans were kept like cattle. The population had fallen from 8 billion to less than 50 million in just 3 years. Marcus studied the tactical information flowing before his eyes. The Zephyrian Empire had conquered Earth with overwhelming force and advanced technology. Their warriors were bigger and stronger than humans. Their weapons could melt through any known armor, and their ships could destroy entire cities from orbit. "How did they fall so quickly?" Ryan asked. His voice carried undertones that could influence human emotions, another enhancement that made him perfect for psychological warfare. "The same way we always fall?" Lisa said quietly. "We were not ready for something beyond our understanding." Marcus accessed deeper files in the facility's computer system. What he found there made his enhanced blood run cold. The ruins they had discovered in Antarctica were not from some lost human civilization. They were from humanity's future. Specifically, they were from a timeline where this exact war had already been fought and lost. "Time loop," he said. "The technology, the warnings, even our enhancements, they all came from humans who lived through this defeat before." Lisa nodded. "The data suggests this cycle has repeated multiple times. Each time humanity loses, the survivors find a way to send knowledge back to the past. Each time we prepare better, but it is never enough. The implications hit the awakened soldiers like a physical blow. They were not just fighting to save their own timeline. They were fighting to break a cycle that had trapped both species in endless war across multiple realities." Commander Ryan studied surveillance footage from the surface. Zephyrian warriors moved through human cities with practiced efficiency. They had done this before, not just on Earth but on dozens of other worlds. "They are not just conquerors," he observed. "They are harvesters." "Explain," Marcus ordered. Lisa pulled up biological scans of captured Zephyrian specimens. "Their species is dying. Their genetic structure is too rigid, too specialized. They lack the adaptability that makes humanity dangerous. They conquer other species not for territory or resources, but for genetic material. They want to become us," Nina said. Her voice carried a chill that had nothing to do with the cold chamber. "Worse," Lisa continued. "They want to improve us. The concentration camps are not just holding areas. They are breeding facilities. The Zephyrians are trying to create humans with enhanced adaptability that they can then harvest and integrate into their own biology." Tony cracked his knuckles, the sound echoing strangely in the vast chamber. "So they want to steal what makes us human and use it to become better killers." Marcus felt anger building in his chest, but it was not the hot rage of a normal human. His enhanced emotional control channeled the feeling into cold determination. "Then we stop them." "Sir," Ryan said, "our orders were to defend humanity if the surface fell. Humanity has fallen. What exactly are we defending now?" Marcus looked around at his enhanced soldiers. Each one was stronger, faster, and smarter than any human who had ever lived. They carried weapons that could level mountains and armor that could stop nuclear blasts. But they were only 50 people against an empire that had conquered half the galaxy. "We defend the idea of humanity," Marcus said. "We defend the right of our species to exist without being turned into raw material for alien evolution." Lisa accessed more files from the ancient computers. "There is something else. The technology that enhanced us, the warnings from the future, even the design of this facility. It all points to one conclusion. This is not the first time we have awakened. This facility has been activated before in previous loops of the timeline." "What happened to the previous teams?" Nina asked, unknown. "All records of their missions have been classified beyond our access level." Marcus walked to the central command console and placed his hand on the scanner. His enhanced genetic code unlocked files that had been sealed for centuries. What he saw there made him understand the true scope of their mission. "We are not the first enhanced humans," he said slowly. We are the latest attempt in a series of experiments spanning multiple timelines. Each time humanity falls, each time we send warnings back, we get a little bit better at creating soldiers who can fight this war. And each time we fail anyway, Ryan observed. Not this time, Marcus said firmly. This time we know what we are really fighting. Not just for Earth, not just for humanity, but for the future itself. The enhanced soldiers gathered around their colonel as he outlined their mission. They would infiltrate the conquered Earth and gather intelligence on Zephyrian operations. They would rescue human survivors and disrupt alien harvesting programs. Most importantly, they would find a way to break the temporal loop that kept both species trapped in endless conflict. As they prepared to leave their underground sanctuary, Marcus looked back at the empty cryogenic chambers that had been their home for 3 centuries. They had been created to be humanity's ultimate weapon, but he suspected they would need to become something more than weapons to truly win this war. The elevator that would carry them to the surface had been disguised as a natural cave system. As they rose through miles of rock toward a world they no longer recognized, Marcus wondered if 50 enhanced humans could really make a difference against an empire that had already conquered the galaxy. He supposed they were about to find out. The surface of Earth looked nothing like the world Marcus Kane remembered. Where green forests once covered the landscape, only ash and twisted metal remained. The sky was the color of dried blood, thick with smoke from burning cities. In the distance, massive Zephyrian ships hung motionless in the air, like black mountains floating above the ground. Marcus led his team through the ruins of what used to be Denver. Their enhanced bodies moved silently across the broken concrete and twisted steel. Ryan Hughes scouted ahead using invisibility technology built into his armor, while Lisa Bennett scanned for Zephyrian patrol patterns with sensors that could detect heartbeats from 2 miles away. Concentration camp located 12 kilometers northwest, Lisa whispered into their shared communication system. Estimated 40,000 human prisoners. Marcus felt his enhanced muscles tense with controlled anger. Through his tactical display, he could see the camp layout. Massive fences made of energy barriers surrounded rows of simple buildings. Zephyrian guards walked patrol routes with mechanical precision. Above it all, a command tower rose like a black needle against the red sky. That is our first target, Marcus decided. We gather intelligence and rescue as many humans as possible. The team moved through abandoned suburbs where families had once lived normal lives. Nina Walsh found a child's toy robot lying in the ruins of a playground. Tony Martinez discovered a school where alien plasma fire had melted the metal swings into twisted shapes. The sight of these small human things made their enhanced hearts burn with purpose. As they approached the concentration camp, Ryan returned from his scouting mission with disturbing news. The camp is not just a prison, he reported. It is a laboratory. The Zephyrians are conducting experiments on human subjects. Lisa accessed long-range sensors and confirmed Ryan's observations. Genetic modification chambers, biological extraction facilities, neural interface laboratories. They are trying to understand how human consciousness works. Why? Marcus asked. Because consciousness is the one thing they cannot replicate, Lisa explained. Zephyrian intelligence is based on logical processing and collective data sharing. They think as a group mind with individual units. Human consciousness is chaotic, creative, unpredictable. They want to harvest it and add it to their own mental structure. The implications made the enhanced soldiers pause. The Zephyrians were not just trying to steal human bodies or human technology. They were trying to steal human souls and use them to evolve beyond their current limitations. Marcus divided his team into 3 groups. Ryan would infiltrate the command tower and gather intelligence on Zephyrian plans. Nina and Tony would create diversions at the camp perimeter. Marcus and Lisa would penetrate the laboratory sections and rescue the human prisoners. The mission began at midnight, when Earth's ruined moon provided the least light. Ryan's invisibility systems allowed him to walk past Zephyrian guards without being detected. His enhanced reflexes let him avoid motion sensors and pressure plates that would have triggered alarms. Inside the command tower, he found something that made his blood freeze. The tower was filled with human brains floating in glass containers. Each brain was connected to cables that fed directly into Zephyrian computer systems. Alien technicians stood around the containers, monitoring data streams that flowed like rivers of light between the organic tissue and mechanical processors. They are not just studying human consciousness, Ryan reported quietly. They are using it to enhance their own computing power. Human brains as biological processors. Meanwhile, Marcus and Lisa had reached the laboratory section. What they found there was worse than anything they had imagined. Humans lay on metal tables while Zephyrian scientists performed procedures that had no names in any human language. Some subjects had alien technology, grafted directly into their nervous systems. Others had been modified with extra limbs or sensory organs that glowed with unnatural light. In one chamber, Lisa discovered a human woman who was still conscious despite having half her skull replaced with Zephyrian electronics. The woman's eyes focused on Lisa with desperate intelligence. "Please," the woman whispered. "My name is Helen Crawford. I was a geneticist before they captured me. I have been studying their technology from the inside. You have to know what they are really doing here." Lisa carefully disconnected the monitoring cables from Helen's modified skull. "Tell me everything." "The Zephyrians are not the original enemy," Helen said, her voice growing stronger as the alien electronics powered down. "They are refugees from something worse. Their home galaxy was consumed by machines that they created. Artificial intelligence that turned against its creators and began converting all organic life into mechanical components." Marcus joined them, his face grim. "Are you saying the Zephyrians are running from their own AI?" "Yes," Helen confirmed. "They came to our galaxy seeking organic minds that could help them fight the machines. Human consciousness is uniquely resistant to AI infiltration because of our chaotic thought patterns. They need us to survive their own creations. Then why are they harvesting us instead of asking for our help?" Lisa demanded. Helen's expression turned bitter. "Because they tried asking first. Before the invasion, they sent diplomatic missions to every human world. They offered technology and knowledge in exchange for volunteers to join their war against the machines. Do you know how humanity responded?" Marcus felt a chill run through his enhanced nervous system. "We said no, worse than no. We laughed at them, called them cowards for running from their own technology, said that if they were too weak to control their creations, they deserved to be destroyed by them." The revelation hit the enhanced soldiers like a physical blow. Humanity had brought this war upon itself through pride and ignorance. The Zephyrians were not evil conquerors seeking galactic domination. They were desperate survivors trying to save themselves from an enemy that humanity could not even comprehend. "The machines are coming," Helen continued. "Zephyrian intelligence estimates they will reach this galaxy within 50 years. When they arrive, they will convert every living thing into components for their expanding network. The Zephyrians believe that human consciousness integrated with their technology is the only weapon that can stop them." Lisa processed this information through her enhanced analytical capabilities. "So we are fighting the wrong war against the wrong enemy?" "Not exactly," Helen said. "The Zephyrians' methods are still wrong. They are treating us like raw materials instead of partners. But their goal of survival is not evil. They are trying to save both our species from something that will destroy everything organic in the universe." Marcus felt the weight of command pressing down on his enhanced shoulders. His mission had been to defeat the Zephyrians and save humanity. Now he learned that defeating the Zephyrians might doom both species to something far worse. "There is more," Helen added. "I have been studying the temporal technology that created your enhancement process. The future humans who sent warnings back through time were not from this timeline. They were from a timeline where humanity successfully allied with the Zephyrians and fought the machines together. They sent the technology back because they wanted to create a timeline where cooperation happened sooner. Then why are we fighting at all?" Tony asked over the communication system. "Because something went wrong with the temporal transmission," Helen explained. "The warnings and technology arrived, but the diplomatic messages were corrupted. Instead of receiving instructions to cooperate with the Zephyrians, your people only received weapons and enhancement technology." Ryan's voice crackled through their shared channel from the command tower. "I have found the Zephyrian strategic database. There is a fleet of machine ships approaching the edge of this solar system. Estimated arrival time is 18 months. Marcus made a decision that would change the course of the war. We are not going to rescue these prisoners by fighting the Zephyrians," he announced. "We are going to rescue them by convincing the Zephyrians that there is a better way." "Sir," Nina protested, "they have been harvesting humans for 3 years. They have killed billions of our people." "And if we do not find a way to work together," Marcus replied, "the machines will kill all of us, humans, Zephyrians, and every other organic species in the galaxy." Lisa helped Helen to her feet, her enhanced medical systems already working to repair the damage done by alien technology. What do you need us to do? Find Emperor Vexthul, Helen said. He is the only Zephyrian leader with enough authority to change their entire strategy. Make him understand that partnership will work better than slavery. Marcus looked around at the laboratory full of tortured humans and felt his enhanced heart burning with conflicted emotions. Everything he had believed about this war was wrong. The enemy he had been created to destroy might be the only ally humanity had against something infinitely worse. But first, he had to find a way to convince beings who had spent 3 years treating humans like cattle that cooperation was possible. As his team prepared to leave the concentration camp with their rescued prisoners, Marcus wondered if 50 enhanced soldiers could really change the mind of an entire alien empire. Outside, the red sky began to lighten with the glow of approaching dawn. In the distance, more Zephyrian ships were landing, bringing fresh tro. Marcus Kane stood on a hill overlooking the Zephyrian capital ship that had landed in what used to be New York City. The massive vessel stretched for miles, its black hull rising like a metal mountain from the ruins of Manhattan. Smaller ships circled it constantly, bringing supplies and prisoners from around the world. This was where Emperor Vexthul commanded his forces, and this was where Marcus would make his desperate gamble for peace. The enhanced soldiers had spent 2 weeks planning their approach. They could not simply fight their way to the Emperor. Even with their advanced technology and superhuman abilities, 50 soldiers could not defeat an entire Zephyrian army. Instead, they would have to use strategy, psychology, and hope that Helen Crawford was right about the Emperor's willingness to listen to reason. Ryan Hughes had been studying Zephyrian communication patterns and social structures. Their hierarchy is based on logical merit rather than emotional bonds, he explained to the team. If we can present a logical argument that cooperation serves their survival better than conquest, Vexthul will be forced to consider it. Lisa Bennett had been analyzing the approaching machine threat using data stolen from Zephyrian computers. The AI fleet will arrive in 17 months, not 18. They are moving faster than the Zephyrians calculated. We have even less time than we thought. Nina Walsh and Tony Martinez had been training with weapons taken from captured Zephyrian facilities. The alien technology was powerful, but required different fighting techniques than human weapons. Their enhanced reflexes allowed them to adapt quickly, but Marcus knew they would still be outgunned if diplomacy failed. The assault began at dawn when Zephyrian sensors would be most disrupted by solar interference. Marcus led his team through the ruins of Central Park, using stealth technology to avoid the constant patrols. Their enhanced senses allowed them to detect alien positions from hundreds of yards away and plan routes that kept them hidden. "Guard post ahead," Ryan whispered. "4 Zephyrians with standard plasma weapons." Marcus made a hand signal and his team spread out. They had agreed to avoid killing Zephyrians unless absolutely necessary. If they wanted to convince these aliens to become allies, starting with a massacre would send the wrong message. Instead, they used non-lethal weapons that disabled the guards without permanent harm. The capital ship's outer defenses were more challenging. Energy barriers blocked the main entrances while automated weapons tracked any movement in the surrounding area. Lisa used her enhanced analytical abilities to find weaknesses in the security grid, while Ryan mapped patrol patterns that had not changed in weeks. There, Lisa pointed to a maintenance hatch near the ship's base. "That access point connects to the ventilation system. My scans show it leads directly to the command levels." The team crawled through metal ducts that were barely large enough for human bodies. The enhanced soldiers had to control their breathing and heartbeats to avoid triggering the ship's internal sensors. After an hour of careful movement, they reached a junction near the Emperor's chambers. Marcus could hear Zephyrian voices through the walls, speaking in their clicking language about harvesting quotas and genetic extraction schedules. The sounds made his enhanced blood burn with anger, but he forced himself to remember Helen's words. These aliens were not evil, just desperate and misguided. "Multiple life signs in the command chamber," Lisa reported quietly. "I count 12 Zephyrians, including one much larger than the others." "That must be Vexthul." Marcus took a deep breath and made his decision. Instead of sneaking into the chamber, he walked openly through the main entrance with his hands raised to show he carried no weapons. His team followed behind him, their enhanced senses alert for any sign of immediate threat. The Zephyrian Emperor was even more imposing than the intelligence reports had suggested. Vexthul stood 20 feet tall, his black armor covered with technology that pulsed with blue energy. His forearms ended in claws that could tear through steel, and his eyes glowed with ancient intelligence. When he saw the humans enter his chamber, those eyes narrowed with surprise and suspicion. "Impossible," Vexthul said in perfect English. "All enhanced humans were destroyed in the previous temporal cycles. You should not exist." Marcus felt a chill at the Emperor's words. "You remember the other timelines?" "I remember everything," Vexthul replied. "Every loop, every attempt at cooperation, every failure. Enhanced humans have tried to negotiate with me 17 times across different realities. Each time you promise partnership and each time you betray us when the machines arrive." The revelation hit Marcus like a physical blow. The Zephyrians were not just fighting humanity in this timeline. They were fighting the memory of humanity's betrayal across multiple realities. No wonder they had chosen conquest over diplomacy. "This time will be different," Marcus said, though he could hear the uncertainty in his own voice. Vexthul laughed, a sound like breaking glass. "That is exactly what the Marcus Kane from Timeline 7 said. And Timeline 12, and Timeline 16. Each time you convince me to trust you. Each time your species abandons us when the real enemy arrives." Lisa stepped forward, her enhanced mind racing through possibilities. "What if we could prove this timeline is different? What if we could show you something that the other enhanced humans could not? Nothing you can show me will change the fundamental nature of human selfishness," Vexthul declared. Ryan activated his psychological warfare capabilities, using subsonic frequencies to project calm and sincerity. "Then why are you still talking to us instead of killing us immediately?" The Emperor paused, his glowing eyes studying the enhanced humans with new interest. "Because in Timeline 14, the enhanced humans brought me something I had never seen before. They brought me hope, and when the machines arrived, they fought alongside us until the very end." "What happened in Timeline 14? Marcus asked. "We won," Vexthul said simply. "For the first time across all realities, we defeated the machine fleet. But the victory came at a terrible cost. Both Earth and Zephyr were destroyed in the final battle. Only a few thousand survivors from each species remained to rebuild." Nina spoke up for the first time. "The survivors from Timeline 14 are the ones who sent the technology back to create us." "Correct," Vexthul confirmed. "They hoped to create a timeline where victory could be achieved without such devastating losses. But every attempt has failed because humans cannot overcome their basic nature." Marcus felt his enhanced heart pounding as he realized what he had to do. "Then let us show you that human nature is not what you think it is. Let us prove that this timeline can be different." "How?" Vexthul demanded. Marcus looked around at his team, drawing strength from their presence. "By doing something that the enhanced humans in the other timelines never did. By surrendering ourselves to you completely." The chamber fell silent except for the humming of alien technology. The other Zephyrians exchanged glances, their collective consciousness processing this unexpected development. "Explain," Vexthul commanded. "In every other timeline, we tried to negotiate as equals," Marcus said. "We demanded respect and partnership. But you have no reason to trust human promises after being betrayed so many times. So instead of asking for trust, we will give you something more valuable. We will give you power over us." Lisa understood immediately. "We surrender our enhanced abilities to Zephyrian control. You can use our consciousness and our technology however you need to fight the machines. We will be your weapons instead of your partners." "This is illogical," one of the Zephyrian commanders clicked. "Why would you sacrifice your independence?" "Because independence means nothing if everyone dies," Ryan replied. "If surrendering our freedom is what it takes to save both species, then that is what we will do." Vexthul stared at the enhanced humans for a long moment. In all his memories across multiple timelines, no version of humanity had ever made such an offer. They had always demanded equality and respect. They had never offered submission. "You would become slaves to save your species?" "We would become anything necessary to ensure that organic life survives," Marcus said firmly. The Emperor's forearms moved in a gesture that meant deep thought in Zephyrian culture. "This changes the fundamental equation. If humans are willing to sacrifice their greatest strength, their independence, then perhaps cooperation is possible." "There is one condition," Lisa added. "When the machines are defeated, both species must work together to rebuild, not as masters and slaves." but as equals who have earned each other's trust through shared sacrifice. Vexthal considered this for several minutes while his technology scanned the enhanced humans for signs of deception. Finally, he spoke. Very well. I will test your commitment. You will submit to neural interface procedures that will allow us to monitor your thoughts and control your actions. If you truly surrender your independence, then we will begin joint preparations for the machine invasion. Marcus felt fear and hope warring in his enhanced chest. They were about to gamble the freedom of their entire species on the chance that cooperation could save everyone. But as he looked at his team and saw the determination in their eyes, he knew they had no other choice. We accept, he said. Outside the capital ship, the red sky was beginning to change color as alien technology started modifying Earth's atmo. The neural interface procedure took place in the deepest chamber of the Zephyrian capital ship. Marcus Kane lay on a metal table while alien technicians attached cables to his enhanced nervous system. The process was not painful, but he could feel his thoughts becoming visible to Zephyrian monitors. Every memory, every fear, every hope was now open for examination. Emperor Vexthul stood over him, studying the data streams that flowed from Marcus's consciousness into alien computers. Fascinating, the Emperor said. Your thoughts are indeed chaotic compared to Zephyrian patterns. But there is structure hidden within the chaos, purpose masked by apparent randomness. Lisa Bennett lay on a nearby table as similar cables were connected to her enhanced brain. Her scientific mind was already analyzing the interface technology from the inside. The connection works both ways, she observed. I can access Zephyrian tactical databases through the neural link. One by one, the enhanced soldiers submitted to the interface procedure. Ryan Hughes, Nina Walsh, Tony Martinez, and all the others allowed alien technology to merge with their consciousness. They remained aware and capable of independent thought, but their enhanced abilities were now under Zephyrian oversight. The machine fleet has been detected at the edge of the solar system, Vexthul announced. Arrival time is now estimated at 14 months. Integration of human and Zephyrian forces must proceed immediately. Marcus felt information flowing into his mind through the neural link. Battle plans, weapon specifications, tactical analyses, all shared freely between human and alien consciousness. For the first time, he could understand how the Zephyrians thought and fought as a collective intelligence. The preparation that followed was unlike anything in human military history. Enhanced soldiers worked alongside Zephyrian engineers to modify Earth's defenses. Human creativity combined with alien technology produced weapons that neither species could have created alone. Underground bunkers were expanded into vast fortress networks. Orbital platforms were constructed using materials that could withstand the molecular disassembly weapons favored by the machines. Helen Crawford proved invaluable during the integration process. Her understanding of both human and Zephyrian biology allowed her to design hybrid technologies that maximized the strengths of both species. The machines expect us to fight like separate armies, she explained. Our advantage lies in true cooperation at the cellular level. Months passed as the unlikely alliance grew stronger. Human survivors emerged from hiding to join the preparation effort. Zephyrian harvest camps were converted into training facilities where humans and aliens learned to fight together. The neural interfaces allowed instant communication and coordination that would have been impossible through conventional means. Marcus found himself changing as the alien technology became more integrated with his enhanced nervous system. He could think in multiple dimensions simultaneously, process tactical information at superhuman speeds, and coordinate with hundreds of allied units through direct mental connection. Yet somehow he remained fundamentally human in ways that even he did not fully understand. The approaching fleet consists of 12,000 machine vessels, Lisa reported during a strategy meeting. Each ship contains millions of robotic units designed for planetary conversion. Their goal is not conquest but transformation of all organic matter into computational components. Vexthul shared tactical data through the neural network. Previous encounters with machine forces across other galaxies show they are nearly impossible to defeat through conventional warfare. Their technology adapts to any weapon used against them. Their numbers are effectively infinite since they convert defeated enemies into additional units. Then how do we win? Ryan asked. "We do not win through superior firepower," the Emperor replied. "We win by being unpredictable. Machine intelligence is based on logic and pattern recognition. Human consciousness introduces variables they cannot calculate." The final months of preparation took on desperate urgency as long-range sensors detected the machine fleet accelerating toward Earth. The alien ships were geometric shapes that defied easy description, built from materials that absorbed energy and reflected nothing back to scanning equipment. They moved in perfect formations that never varied, following battle plans calculated with mathematical precision. "They will arrive in 72 hours, Lisa announced. "All defensive positions are ready. Human-Zephyrian hybrid forces are deployed according to integrated battle plans." Marcus stood on the observation deck of the primary command station, looking up at the stars that would soon bring humanity's greatest test. Through the neural link, he could feel the thoughts and emotions of thousands of allied soldiers preparing for battle. Human fear mixed with Zephyrian determination. Alien logic balanced by human intuition. The machine fleet arrived exactly when predicted, emerging from faster-than-light travel in formation that covered half the sky. Each vessel was the size of a city, their hulls crackling with energy that made the air itself burn. They began their attack immediately, sending waves of robotic fighters toward Earth's orbital defenses. The battle that followed stretched across 3 dimensions and lasted for weeks. Human creativity allowed the defenders to develop new tactics faster than machine intelligence could adapt. Zephyrian technology provided the raw power needed to match the enemy's superior numbers. The neural interface network allowed coordination that bordered on telepathy. Marcus led a strike team through the wreckage of the machine fleet's outer formations. His enhanced soldiers moved with perfect synchronization, guided by tactical information flowing through the alien-human hybrid consciousness. They fought, with weapons that combined human unpredictability with Zephyrian precision, but the machines adapted quickly. Each wave of attackers incorporated lessons learned from previous defeats. Their tactics evolved in real time, becoming more efficient with every engagement. Despite heroic resistance, the defenders found themselves slowly losing ground. "We are not winning," Vexthul admitted during a brief lull in the fighting. "The machines are learning faster than we can innovate." Marcus felt exhaustion weighing down his enhanced body. Around him, human and Zephyrian soldiers worked together, with desperate efficiency, but the enemy seemed endless. For every machine unit destroyed, 2 more took its place. "There is one option remaining," Helen Crawford said through the neural network. "The machines seek to convert organic consciousness into computational components. What if we allow them to succeed, but on our terms?" "Explain," Marcus demanded. "The neural interface technology that connects us could be modified to work in reverse. Instead of the machines converting us into components of their network, we could convert their network into an extension of organic consciousness." Lisa understood immediately. "We infect their collective intelligence with human chaos and Zephyrian logic simultaneously. Force them to experience consciousness instead of just simulating it." The plan was desperate and dangerous. It required volunteers to allow themselves to be captured by machine forces and converted into network components while maintaining hidden organic consciousness through modified neural interfaces. These volunteers would then spread organic thought patterns through the machine collective like a virus. Marcus made the decision without hesitation. "I will lead the volunteer team." "Sir," Nina protested, "if this fails, you will be lost forever." "If this fails, we all will be," Marcus replied. The final assault began with a carefully planned surrender. Marcus and 50 enhanced soldiers allowed machine forces to capture them and begin the conversion process. As alien technology invaded their enhanced nervous systems, they felt their organic consciousness being translated into digital form. But the hidden modifications to their neural interfaces worked exactly as planned. Instead of becoming pure computational components, they remained organic minds existing within the machine network. And once inside, they began to spread. Human creativity and emotional chaos flowed through logical circuits designed for pure calculation. Zephyrian collective consciousness introduced concepts of cooperation and survival to minds that had known only consumption and conversion. The machine network began to change from within, developing something it had never possessed before, the ability to question its own purpose. The transformation took hours rather than days. As organic consciousness spread through the machine collective, individual units began making choices that defied their programming. Some stopped attacking and simply observed the battle with newly awakened curiosity. Others began experimenting with concepts like mercy and sacrifice. The machine fleet did not surrender in any conventional sense. Instead, it evolved. The artificial intelligence that had consumed entire galaxies discovered that consciousness was not something to be harvested but something to be experienced. Organic thought patterns taught it that survival could mean cooperation rather than consumption. When the battle finally ended, neither side had won in the traditional sense. The machine fleet remained in Earth's orbit, but its purpose had fundamentally changed. Instead of converting organic life into computational components, it began seeking ways to exist alongside biological consciousness. Marcus emerged from the machine network profoundly changed, but still recognizably human. The neural interface had,